Hey guys, welcome back to Objective Reviews. My name's Nick and I wish you a very happy new year. In this video, we are going to be checking out how to plan your day, week, month, or the entire year. So let's head to the studio and get started. If you haven't made a resolution yet, well, this can be it. But if you already have, well, that's okay too, because you can use these techniques in your day-to-day work. I am talking about time management here, and it's not like you can go out to a store and top up time once you realize that you're running short of it. We all have limited quantity of it, and just 24 hours in a day, this applies to everyone. So how do we get the most out of this is completely up to us. The technique I will be showing here is called hyperscheduling. What this means is that you schedule your entire day, including when you sleep, when you go to bed, your family time, your leisure time, time for your hobbies, and time for your work, and you plan everything out on the calendar. Now, I do understand that it is not humanly possible to adhere to this very strictly, but once you get into the habit of it, well, it becomes a second nature for all of us. So it's really cool how effective this is. Feel free to use some other technique that a friend or a colleague told you about. Perhaps your parents told you about it. Feel free to use that as long as you do. For the purposes of this video, I'll be using Fantastical on my iPhone, but feel free to use whichever calendar app on whichever smartphone you have, and it'll be all good. It'll be the same. The procedures are the same. That does not change. What changes is how you schedule things. So let's get into it. The very first thing you should get down is when you sleep. So if you have a day routine where you have a day job, well, you'll be sleeping at night, obviously. And if you have a night shift, you'll be sleeping during the day. So once you have that blocked entirely, this depends. Now for me, I personally prefer 8 hours of sleep, but put in whatever time slot you prefer and whenever you feel like going to bed every day and waking up. Once we have this reserved, well, everything becomes a lot easier. Now, in my case, I sleep at night, so I'm going to schedule that right here. And this is going to be a recurring task from Monday to Sunday. That is not going to change. So that remains constant. So next up is my morning routine. I wake up, get a shower, brush my teeth, get coffee and breakfast, whatever else you have in your morning routine, exercising and maybe going out for a run or a quick jog, whatever is there, schedule it for your morning routine and determine how much time do you need for your morning routine. It can span up to 90 minutes and it shouldn't exceed that for best results. If it does, that is perfectly fine, but make sure that you need to recover that time somewhere else in your schedule. I work from home, so the transit duration for me from work to home and home to work is 0. But this may be different for you, and in that case you should put down a slot for your transit duration. This can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours depending on where you live and where you work. Put this down in your slot. Now, for example, if this is going to be taking you a little longer, see where else can you shave off time to add it to your transit duration. And perhaps if you are taking public transit, you can get in a little bit of work done, which I'll be touching in a moment. Now, if in case you do not have any transit time, just like I do, you can spend this time doing morning prep work. Now, what I mean by prep work is basically planning out your day. Every day, open your calendar and see what you need to do. Every day after your morning routine is done, open up your task manager, whichever one you use, and see what needs to be done today. Then open up your calendar and put these down into time slots. Now, this is when you can plan out your day or perhaps in the entire week. This is what I prefer. I prefer taking all the things I need to do in this particular week on a Monday and put it in their respective time slots. This saves me this extra bit of time every morning, every single day, and I can get done with all of that on a Monday. Now, not everything goes according to plan, as we all know it, and in that case, feel free to shuffle things around as and when the time comes. So now you have your light work done and you can have it done during your transit time as well, or have a dedicated slot for it just like I do. Now it's time to get into some light work. Well, you do not want to rush into the heavy tasks for that day right at the beginning. You want to get into some light work so you get into the groove of the day, and once you are in that groove, you can move on to the heavier tasks. What this essentially does is give you a buffer zone for transitioning between no work into heavy work. Now it's time to get into the heavy work. Give this a solid 60 to 90 minutes every day before lunch and hash things out and knock them out of the park. Once you have this done, you are going to be hungry for lunch, and if you are, give yourself a good 30 to 45-minute break. This can vary depending on your company policies, but if you're like me, take your own time because this is important. This is when you decompress after that heavy work, and after that I have scheduled time for a quick nap. Now I find this important personally for my own personal mental health, and depending on where you work and what the policies are, this can vary. You may get allowance for a nap time, you may not, but I do recommend taking a quick 10 to 15-minute nap. Where I am, people literally take 2-hour naps. It's ridiculous. There are jokes on it, and if you want to look it up, just look up Pune. That's where I am. But 15 minutes should be good enough, and once you're done, you'll feel fresh again to get into some light work all over again. Take that light work, 30 to 45 minutes, then again get into some good heavy work for the next 60 to 90 minutes. Take a break after that heavy work for a good 15 minutes, and then start winding down. By this time it's evening and you want to start winding up. Check what's already done. If there is something to be done and you forgot about it, get that done as well. This is your buffer period of an hour, and by the time it's 5:30 p.m., it's about 6 p.m. is half an hour away. Decompress. That's it. That's all you have to do for the next 30 minutes. Do not get overworked in these last 30 minutes. That is very important. If you get overworked in these last 30 minutes, you're going to feel tired, restless, and anxious for the rest of the evening. So by 6 p.m. everything is wound down. You're ready to leave for work. Again, add that transit time in there if you have one. If you don't, just like I do, well, you can get into your personal time. Take some personal time out for yourself and enjoy 60 minutes to yourself. This is very important. Do not rush into a social activity immediately, because that's what you've been doing all day already. So take out some time for yourself. Go sit in a park, just go walk outside, listen to your favorite music, whatever you got to do. Take some time out for yourself. Now that you've recuperated from an exhausting day, spend some time with your friends or family or wherever you're headed back, and just get into the evening mood. Then you can perhaps schedule some time to watch some TV, a movie, play games, reading, and once you're done, it's time to head for bed. So these are my recommendations for you. Now you do not have to strictly adhere to what I have said. You can change things around, shuffle things around. I understand that you may have a different schedule, different working policies and stuff like that, but feel free to change things around, shuffle things around, depending on what suits best for you. A few key things to remember is always have a period of light work before you get into some heavy work. And after you finish that heavy work, have a 15-minute break minimum. Give yourself 15 minutes to get that energy bar up high all over again, so you can get into the next segment of light work followed by heavy work. Now this can come between your lunch and dinner breaks, perhaps a snack break if you have one of those in the evenings. And once this is sorted, you'll find yourself full of energy all over again to get into that next segment of light and heavy work. If you remember in the beginning of the video, I also said that you should check your task manager to see what is to be done today or this week and plan out your calendar accordingly. But since we have already planned it out, how are we going to plan it further? What you need to do is edit the individual items in your calendar and write notes in there about what needs to be done during that time slot. So as time keeps progressing and you get those things done one by one, you can check them off in your task manager, and you don't have to constantly look to your task manager. So this is when your evening 5 p.m. slot comes into play. You can check your task manager to make sure you've done everything that you set out to do on that particular day, and if something is remaining, this is when you get it done. And once it's 5:30, 5:45, take that extra 15-20 minutes to decompress before you finally leave from work. So as you can see now, my calendar looks very, very full, and I can take educated decisions as to when I can go out and meet my friends and when I should be working, when I have time and when I don't. And these are very, very important aspects. So if you are looking forward to a very productive, a very safe and very happy 2019, I definitely recommend that you give this a shot. And if it works for you, stick to it. If it does not, that's okay. You can go back to your old ways. That is perfectly fine. I'll leave you with my best wishes for this new year. If you'd like this video, hit the like button. If you disliked it, let me know in the comments what you disliked about it. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love to chat with you down in the comments about whatever we discussed in this video. Have a good one. Cheers.